welcome back to my channel. It's the 24th of June and happy Pride. Cincinnati celebrated their Pride Festival today, so that's where I spent most of my day. I'm tired, I'm worn out. I've walked like 6 miles. It was hot. We was out here. It was a fun time. So let's get caught up because we got a couple of things to talk about. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what books I finished so far since the last time we talked, which was about 2-ish weeks ago. So I finished 4 books, but I only have 3 of them physically. So the first one I want to talk about is the one that I don't have physically, and that would be Bandette Volume 5, which I gave 5 carrots. It looks like Bandette is going to have a little bit of trouble because she has a new adversary sent to destroy her. So we will see what happens in Volume 6, which I think, if I have the release schedule properly, it should be Monday. So cool. The next book I finished, I listened to audio, and it's Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen. I'm gonna give this 3 carrots. The audiobook was interesting, but one of the things that was incredibly annoying to me was that this main character, Lana, is an absolute adult. Like almost 30 years old, and everybody is still trying to tell her what to do. And I understand that in other cultures, you're not really an adult until, you're married and you have your kids and whatnot. Like, I get that. But in this story's frame, it was incredibly annoying. So the gist of this book is that Lana is going through a horrible breakup, and she's trying to put herself back out there, and she has decided that she's going to work in her parents' noodle shop and save up enough money to start again. One day, while she's working in her noodle shop, the morning cook, Peter, asks her to make a delivery to Mr. Feng. Now, Mr. Feng owns the Asian community center thing that they all have their businesses in. Kind of like a shopping center, but completely Asian. And she runs into a fellow offspring of oh my god, what are words? She runs into the oldest daughter of another family that owns a business in this area, and she's complaining about how Mr. Feng is going to go up on rent, and she's unsure how they're going to make it, and she's very, very, very upset. Lana goes in and delivers the dumplings that he orders all the time, and everything is fine. Until the next day when they realize that Mr. Feng is dead from anaphylactic shock, and since he always is very, very sure about his allergies, it's looking like murder. Lana and Peter are on the hook, so Lana has to solve the crime before they go to jail. I knew who did it immediately. The mystery had a lot of twists, but since I already know who did it, the twist didn't really do anything for me. And while the comedy was enjoyable, it didn't do enough to save the book. The next 2 books I got were graphic novels, and I picked these up from the library. Hark! A Vagrant by Kate Beaton and The New Deal by Jonathan Case. I'm giving this one 5 carrots. I loved it. It's basically just an anthology. It's lots of little newspaper comics about different times in history. The Nancy Drew book cover ones were my favorite. And then The New Deal is also historical. It takes place in New York in 1934, and a troupe of super rich people come to the Waldorf Astoria, where Frank, the bellhop, and Teresa, a black maid, work together to make sure that everything goes the way that it should. Teresa is accused of stealing a dog collar, which she did not do. And the woman on the front, Miss Booth, I'm almost certain. Yeah, Miss Booth saves her from losing her job by requesting that she take care of her apartment. So in doing so, she realizes that there is a cat burglar on the loose, and it's just full of hijinks and heists. The art is incredible. And I really wish that this was only volume 1, but this is a full, like, encompassing story. So I was hoping that there would be more heists and more stories, but it looks like this is the only one that Mr. Case has felt like he should make. And this was done in 2015, so I'm finding this super late, which is annoying, but I thoroughly loved it. I gave this one 5 carats. So those are the books that I finished in the last time that I saw you. And then I went to the bookstore because You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Mayron. It was released on Tuesday, so I went and got it. Can we talk about Black horror and how excited I am for this? So, this is about a girl who is playing a final girl in a scary, like, tourist attraction, but suddenly her co-workers actually start dying, and it's a final girl situation. Very excited. It's super thin, so I'm excited to get to this. I'm probably going to read this next. And then while I was there, because I, as we all know, have no self-control, I picked up 2 other novels. I picked up You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose, which looks amazing. And this one is a thriller about a girl who's overworked and looking to take a break. She books an Airbnb in the middle of Wyoming, and the owner is handsome, and he's eager to introduce her to his easygoing way of life. But there are things Grace discovers that she's not too pleased about. A lack of cell phone service, a missing woman, and a feeling that something isn't right within the ranch. So we've got isolation, we've got do we trust him, we've got secrets of our own. So I'm excited to get into that too. And then I also picked up Killing Me by Michelle Gagnon. It says she escaped the serial killer and then things got weird. Got weird is right, because I picked this up last night to start reading it. The cat opened it and I was like, let me just read a few pages since it's already open. And as you can see, okay, so I made it to page 9, and this talks about how she escaped the original serial killer. But I feel some kind of way. So the serial killer, you know how everybody's got a signature, a gimmick, an modus operandi. This one is Pokemon. He shaves the victims and paints them like Pokemon characters. As someone that has 3 Pokemon tattoos, how fucking dare you? I don't know what I'm more upset about. The fact that this concept didn't get knocked down before it got to print, the fact that somebody thought that that was cool, the fact that I still want to read the story even though you're disparaging, like, all of the things I don't like. But the writing is really funny, and I'm probably going to finish it. But as a Pokemon fan, like, why would you do this to me? So we'll see if I get to that. And then, because I just can't get enough books, I went to the library. So those 2 graphic novels I talked about earlier, those are from the library. And then these are the other 3 books that I got. I went to the library for one reason. Boy Wonder wanted to return his books, and I was looking for one book only. Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones. And I didn't see it on the shelf. And then when I went to go ask, which I almost never do, because they're busy and I don't want to bother them, she said that it was in the building, in the teen section. And then when she went to the teen section, she looked exactly where I thought it would be. And then she went to go check 2 other places, and then it wasn't there. So it either got taken out right after it got checked back in, and nobody updated, or it's missing. What is my luck? Like, why am I like this? Why does this happen to me? You know? So, instead, I went with these 3 books. So I picked up The Third Twin, which is about 2 twins who have a third twin that they use when they get into trouble. Oh, someone left the lights on, third twin did it. Someone didn't put gas in the car, third twin did it. That kind of thing. Except now, boys are going missing, and they have all been seen with the third twin. So that's creepy and exciting. And then I picked up the London Seance Society, which is also a mystery. And this one is supposed to be about... What were we even talking about? Oh, okay. So then I picked this up. I've actually been waiting for this to come off hold at the library for like a month. So it literally says lucky day on it, and it was my lucky day, because I literally walked in and they had like 4 copies and I grabbed it immediately. But inside says, amid the shrouded parlors of Victorian London, 2 daring women hunt for truth and justice in the perilous art of conjuring the dead. So in 1873, at an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by acclaimed spiritualist Vaudeline, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them, she is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Leanna Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death. But to do so, she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Leanne accompanies her as an understudy. But as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive Seance Society to solve the murder, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps entangled in one themselves. So that's super fun. This one looks decently thick, but not crazy. I'm thinking 320 pages. 330, so not shabby. And then I picked this book up, and this is A Foul Thing by Chloe Gong, and I thought it was going to be a graphic novel, but it's not. However, it is less than like 150 pages, and it's supposed to be this like mystery thing, but I know that Chloe Gong makes the Foul series like high fantasy, so I don't know if this is like a novella or whatnot, but I don't do high fantasy. So as long as this isn't a mystery novel, I'm gonna be cool. Even if it is fantasy, like it says fantasy at the bottom, but I swear it did not say that when I picked it up. So even if it is high fantasy, as long as there's something to solve, I guess it'll be okay. It is only 115 pages, so that's like a drop in the bucket, I suppose. All of the books that I picked up, the book girlies and I are 70 pages away from finishing The Grimrose Girls. I don't know if that novel has been translated to English from another language, but as I read it on my Kindle, it feels like words are missing. Like the and aren't where they should be, which makes me feel like it's been translated. One of the girls has finished it and gave it 2 carrots, so... And I know I'm probably not far behind that because I'm just not feeling it, but Mama didn't raise a quitter, so we're going to keep going. But, like I said, 70 pages left, almost done. We have chosen our next book for our book girly read, and that is Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones. So I'm very excited to get that from my library hold and get started on that. I'm filming this right after Pride, and I'm exhausted. So if I sound scatterbrained more than normal, that's why. Honestly, I think that's it. Hey, welcome back. It is Sunday, the 25th, and I completed the book girly club pick of, we always say the month, but I feel like we never read it in the month that we choose it, so I feel like we need to come up with another title. But I finished Grimrose Girls by Laura Pohl, which I was reading with the book girlies, Bree and Sarah. This one was not good, y'all. This one was not good. And it wasn't just me. Like, when the other girlies, who are a lot more liberal with how they decide to talk about their books, also give it a 2, there's just no hope. There's just no hope for me. Okay, so Bree finished it first, then Sarah, and then I completed it. I'm gonna give it 1 carat. I did not like this novel at all. All of its, like, redeeming qualities kept getting pushed down by everything that was intricately wrong with the book. The characters, I did not care about. You had me for 267 pages, and I did not care about a single character. You introduced 6, 7. Body count was rather large for a book that I didn't care about. A book that I gave a 1 carat. So, you mean to tell me that we got girls who might have been princesses in, like, another life? We've got a dark academia vibe. We've got scary stories that are just shackles for young girls not to explore. We've got a body count. We've got a murderer. Like, all of this should be pulling me in, and it just wasn't. It took me a month to read this book. Goodreads says I started it on the 26th of May. Tomorrow will be the 26th of June. Like, I know that sometimes I slow down in the book club picks because I don't want to be too far ahead of the other girls, and like, they've got kids, they've got lives, so, you know, sometimes things get caught up. I understand. But there's no fucking way. If it takes me longer than 2 weeks to finish a novel, I do not like it. There's no excuse. Unless I'm specifically slowing myself down, and even when I do that, I don't do it for 2 weeks. Like, this book was just objectively awful. All of the things that I thought were going to bring me in and have me devouring this book freaking kept me away. Not even a 4 body count could save this book. It's so wild to me. It was not it. It just wasn't it. Nothing could save this book for me. You have princesses in another life getting sliced and diced left, right, and center in a grim tale, like a grim fairy tales variety, with a large body count, and even some decent quotes that I went through and highlighted, and that wasn't enough to save it. And then it ends on sort of like a cliffhanger going directly into book 2. So even if I was like, okay, as long as they wrap everything up and we get like a fresh cast in the next book, maybe I'll read it. But we don't even get that. No. This book was just a flat out no for me. And the fact that the other book girlies gave it 2 carats, nah. Sarah thinks that in a little bit, after her palate has been cleansed, she might go back and read the second one. She'll have to tell us what happens, because I'm not going back. That, objectively, is probably the worst book that I've read this year. I think it's fighting with Better Off Red for that #1 spot, because it was catastrophic, y'all. Blech. I was so disappointed because I wanted to like it. It should have had all of the little pieces that I normally enjoy in a murder mystery. I should have been like, give me more. But I was like, oh my god, please, when does this movie end? So I can get rid of it and move on to something else. So I'm glad that I finished it. I'm glad that I got to share that experience with my book girlies. But yeah, that just was not for me. Not for me. Oh well. On to the next. Just to show you guys how much I was not into this book, I just did that entire video talking about it, showing my thoughts, reviewing it, and I didn't even show you the fucking cover. I literally pulled it up on the Kindle to hold it up while I talked about it. Didn't even bother to remember that I needed to do that. So here's the cover. But yeah, that should tell you all you need to know about this novel, because it was not it. Thanks so much for listening to me ramble. I'm Gabs. This is the Ink Bunny, your bookish bisexual bunny, and I'll see you next time. Bye!